What's going on, guys? I got some breaking news from Freddie Mac. They just announced new loan limits for 2026 and what that means for your VA home loan. So, before we dive into that, let me just break down how these limits actually affect your ability to use a VA home loan. So, when you don't have an outstanding VA home loan, there's technically no limit on what you can borrow as long as you're both eligible and qualified. So, eligibility, time and service, and character of discharge, and then you don't have an outstanding VA home loan. Qualification is that do you have the income credit collateral to be able to make that payment? So, if you want to buy a $5 million home with no money down, technically you could do that with a VA loan, but you have to qualify for that. Now, where these home loan limits matter is when you want to have multiple VA home loans at the same time. Yes, you can do that. A lot of people still think that you can only use the VA home loan once, like a one and done kind of deal. Definitely not the case. You can have multiple VA home loans. So, this limit, when it increases, hopefully, right, year over year, it gives veterans the ability or surviving spouses to use the VA loan again and not put a down payment because they're increasing that balance. And depending on where you buy in the country, that limit varies. So in some parts of the country, you're able to borrow more with your VA loan than others when you have an outstanding VA home loan. I know there's a lot to that, so let me just break down where currently in 2025 we stand with these limits and what that increase looks like for 2026. Now, before I dive into it, one more caveat. I'm going to be talking about the single family loan limit. Now, what's weird is that with a VA loan, right, you can buy single family condo, townhome, right? Those are all considered single family units. You could buy 2, 3, and 4 unit buildings, and technically also you could buy a 4 unit plus commercial space. But let's just say on a regular multifamily up to 4 units. With conventional loan products, they tier. If it's a single family, 2 unit, 3 unit, or 4 unit, the limits are actually higher for those to be able to qualify for a home. With a VA loan, they only look at the single family loan limit no matter if you're buying a 2, 3, or 4 unit property. So keep that in mind as I go over these numbers. So, in general, in 2020, across the country in 2025, the VA loan limit was $806,500. So if you bought a place for, let's say, $400,000, you would still have $406,500 left to buy another property with your VA loan benefits and not put any money down. Any money over that amount would require for you to put a 25% down payment for the difference. So let's say the property was 506,500, right? So $100,000 over what your available entitlement. Then you would put a 25% down payment on that difference, so it'd be $25,000. Now in 2026, the new loan amount is going to be $832,750. So this is just more numbers for me to remember. So essentially, it had an increase of 3.2% over this year. Now, these loan amounts typically will take effect on all new loan contracts as of January 1st, 2026. Now, some lending institutions may take those on earlier, especially if you're going to be closing into the 2026 year. So again, things to consider. Now, in high cost areas, right, that'd be like Hawaii, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands. That also would include places like D.C., like the DMV area. So just make sure you double check that. You can go on Fannie or Freddie's website. They also have like interactive ones that maps you can plug an address in, and it'll tell you what the amount you can go up to. That's why it changes based on the state. And I got a whole video on that for veterans on my YouTube channel, VA Housing Education. So check it out. And my name is David Piatek, by the way. I am a loan officer and able to help you use that VA home loan across the country. So if you have questions, schedule a call with me down below. All right, so in 2025, the high cost loan amount for single family limit was $1,209,750, Now for 2026, that amounts $1,249,125. So as you see, if you're moving from a low cost area with a VA loan to a high cost area and you want to use your VA loan, you have a lot more purchasing power. But the opposite can happen if you are in a high cost area when using your VA loan. Let's say you bought it for $700,000. Now you're going to a low cost area and then you don't have that much entitlement left because you were used to that high cost area amount. So those are things to consider while you're going down this home ownership journey. But at least this does free up some additional capital for folks to consider, like, should I be using my VA loan again to purchase another property? I know a lot of people have been reaching out about purchasing investment properties. I'm actually in the same boat and always tinkering, like, do I buy another primary residence, turn it into an investment property, or do I use different loan products? So hopefully this gives you guys some guidance. Drop it down, comment down below if you guys knew about these changes coming out. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.